welcome to another Bobby's Cryptid Corner, everybody.
How do you pronounce it? Nain Rogue?
Nain?
Nain
Rouge.
Nain Rouge.
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 Nain Rouge.
Nine.
Rouge.
Well,
Sorry.
that is
Red.
the drinking word of the day. So
I was like, we might as well say
that.
right off the bat. Drink it.
Nine?
Nain Rouge. Nine.
All right. Bree, why don't you introduce yourself? I cut everyone off. Sorry.
Yeah, hi. Okay, well, thanks for joining us, everybody. My name is Bree.
My name is Jamie, and I am madly in love with baked greens. Yeah.
I like to bake greens, that guy or gal, not actual baked greens.
I like both.
My name's Candy
And-
Boy. I don't like
Candy
greens. I like
Boy.
candy. And then we got the other guy. Go ahead. I'm passing it off to you. We got ball
You got
cap
the
guy
other
1,
guy.
ball cap guy 2.
Tony.
We got Detroit. What? Detroit.
Oh.
What?
Detroit.
What? Yes, this is a incredibly local cryptid to Detroit, Michigan.
Everybody
In
forgot
particular.
about
It's
Greg.
gonna get local pretty soon, guys. We've hit all the big ones mostly.
No, there's so many, Bobby.
There's
But we're
so
gonna
many.
get local. It will happen.
Listen, I went with this one because it was like the end of spooky season. It's the beginning of Dia de los Muertos, Day of the Dead. They celebrate that in the beginning of November. And it translates to like small little devil dwarf thing. And I was like, how perfect for this time of year. So I was like, we might as well do it. It's super, super specific. But I think once we dig into it, we're going to start to realize that it goes a little bit deeper than just Detroit, Michigan.
I think we're going to
Detroit
find out why
dwarf.
Eminem is such a short person.
A short person?
Is he?
Yeah,
He's a devil dwarf.
He's not tall. But I think the really important thing that we need to address here is that Enzo is here.
Oh, Enzo's here. Great.
Enzo's here.
Wonderful.
Not only that, but his birthday's tomorrow, everybody. So let's wish everybody, all right, wish Enzo a happy birthday, everybody. Early birthday.
Hell yeah, it's the beginning of all the November birthdays. We got
yeah.
I'll send him a happy
Enzo.
birthday tomorrow.
I believe we'll have let's see, Spooky Morales.
Corey's was yesterday.
Corey's was yesterday.
Breeze is on the
November.
15th.
There's someone else though. I'm
Well,
fucking
me.
forgetting.
Yeah,
I'm thinking of
yourself.
me.
Yeah, Bobby and you.
Bobby.
It's because I never show up, guys. That's why you couldn't remember.
100%.
Oh
yeah.
well, there's so many, but thank you everybody for joining us. I can't believe that Big Willie is here. That's actually really shocking and amazing at the same time.
Welcome.
Yeah.
He's
So
here
are we
pretty
ready?
regularly.
So that
Nice.
means Big Willie kicked his kids to bed really early. And he was
Extra
like,
early.
"Take your asses to bed."
It's
I
party
have
time for
that,
Papa.
I have
Yeah.
a quick question for Tony.
Tanya's birthday. Yes.
Have you been drinking?
No, why would you think that?
Because
All
you
right.
sound like you have.
No,
I'm
this
not-
is just
I'm
how
not
we
judging.
normally talk. What are we talking about?
You're
No.
very aggressive and then very slow and slurry.
I feel like I know when Tony's
That's my
been drinking.
favorite
Yeah, I
It's-
know when when
Okay.
Tony's sauced. It's
All
because he
right,
gets
all right,
quiet.
Just a little- I do get quiet when I'm sauced.
And then
I
he
just don't say
leans
anything
closer and
else.
Sometimes
closer.
you don't.
He leans closer and closer, and then he disappears without saying anything.
Yeah, what the fuck?
I like your full dark mode today. That's awesome.
I always get the text
He went black.
messages from Bree saying like Tony, and then it's like 12 hours later. I'm like, sorry, I went to sleep.
That's okay. I was just like, oh shit,
Took a
Tony
nap.
disappeared. Like no word, just like I'm out.
Bye.
All right,
All
shout out
right.
to Wally's World 420.
Hey, Walt.
Enzo's here. Happy birthday, Enzo.
Enzo.
Greg O'Brien. That's
Hey,
a
Greg.
Good Irish name. Is that it? Jesus.
No, Janet Sanchez,
have-
Big Willie, Sarah, my flock is here.
0507.
Yeah, Master Terrarium. We got lots
Janet.
of people here. All
say
eight of you
Jeanette.
out there.
Michael's
And
here.
Sarah from my flock.
My flock.
Baked green.
She's based. That's
And-
Corey.
As we mentioned, Big Willie style.
Mother Willie. All right, are we ready to jump in?
We're ready. Let's jump in. Let's jump in.
Let's do
Okay. Can you spot the Nain Rouge?
Nain Rouge. Oh yeah, he's in the corner over there, peeking behind the bush. Bobby
He's
the Red
looks
Hot Devil.
so well dressed in this.
He is.
It's giving like 80s, which is coming back. That like gentleman 80s, you know.
It looks
I like
great.
It looks very nice on
I'm
you.
about to bust a cocaine cartel in Michigan, I guess.
Is she ovulating?
Bree
What is
hasn't.
it?
Bree hasn't ovulated since like the early 2000s.
Wow. That's
True
super
story.
personal.
Well,
I don't
okay,
think Bree's old enough to have ovulated in the early 2000s.
She was.
I was old enough. What are you talking about? Okay, listen, I celebrated my 11 years together with my husband yesterday. So technically, I am 11 years, no period.
Yeah. So no ovulation for this lady.
No.
I don't know anything about anything you guys are talking about or anything directly
She's got an
peripheral to those
IUD.
things.
She's got an IUD,
Anyway.
sir.
Let's jump into the madness, you guys. This
He doesn't know what
little
they are 'cause
angry beaver.
They're illegal in Texas. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Non-wish.
No, they're not.
I'm joking.
Okay.
It is French for the red dwarf, and they call it AKA Demon of the Strait.
Mm.
I love this mask. This is the same guy, just in different poses with different
I'm
outfits.
curious
I
to
love
see, did the French settle Michigan and give them this name?
Yes.
Kind of, sorta.
All right.
So
Yeah.
Detroit was the original pronunciation of Detroit is Detroit.
French.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
I like Detroit better.
I do
So
too.
for
It's very
everybody
American.
who thinks I'm fucking drunk, the original pronunciation of Detroit is Detroit.
That's exactly something
Wow.
a drunk person would say. But okay. We're not here. We're not judging. We're happy for you.
We're not
I don't-
judging.
For some reason, I want to say strat instead of
Strat.
straight.
it's
I feel like
straight.
I feel like it would sound better to be
It
like
isn't.
strat.
I like these
No.
little demon guys, and there's one with the scarf. There's like a Mad Max
It's
one.
the same guy. He wears this outfit he wears this mask every year with different outfits.
This one's my
That's
favorite right
Brilliant.
here. These nails, wow, it's giving life. None.
The Nain Rouge is a legendary creature, urban legend from French and American folklore. Its origins in the early French settlement of Detroit, or how should I say it, Bobby? Detroit?
Don't ask me. Ask
Detroit.
the world
Detroit.
traveler.
It's
Detroit, Tony.
Detroit.
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 Are derived from Norman French tales of the Luton, a type of hobgoblin, along with Native American legends of an impish offspring of the stone god.
I love a hobgoblin. We don't talk about hobgoblins
We
enough.
should get
Not
hobby with
nearly
that
enough.
goblin.
I'm
we
glad
keep-
we're talking about one
We
now.
keep talking about him. The Nain Rogue appears as a small creature with red or black fur covering
Oi.
an animal's body, but with the face of an old man. It also said to have blazing red eyes and rotten teeth, wearing red or black fur boots.
There's a couple descriptions for the Nain Rouge,
Drink.
but definitely with those red blazing eyes. But it differs, like with
Mhm.
most things, of course. So people will say that they either had like very big, jagged, sharp teeth hanging out, like
Scary, yeah.
Yeah, or that the skin was red, but that the eyes were just like a yellowing, glowish color. There's a lot to this guy, but I think overall it's that he's red and kind of looks like a
Mhm.
little demon things, which hence the name Rouge.
That little picture you got there
This one?
on the last one. That looks like the glass blower at my local Renaissance Festival.
Oh, I love that. He does actually. Nike just said he looks like
Oh.
Bob from accounting.
That
What?
too.
Interesting.
I like that one. The Nain Rouge is an evil creature that is feared as an omen of great misfortune whenever he appears. The folktale states the Nain appear before disaster strikes.
Dun, dun, dun. So overall, just a bad omen. And I think, like, obviously, we can look back to the other cryptids that we have gone over that are local cryptids where their community kind of embraces them. Tends to be a bad omen, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have the Mothman.
Yep.
The other one that comes to mind is Bat Squatch.
Do you think
for
when you
Mount St. Helens.
when you novelize something like that, it gives it less evil power? Like when you make it into a local town character mascot thing and have fucking funnel cakes and
Brews. There's always a beer.
Yeah.
This one has its own beer too.
I was like, but I think that that's kind of like the culture that as we research all these cryptids, we start to realize that these specific localities tend to take hold of a certain cryptid and monetize it. And it's not just for like, and it's for the community. It's incredibly community driven. It's like mom and pop shops sell things. People, companies change their names downtown to whatever the local cryptid is so they can get more people in there and things like that. So I think that it's become a tool within our society for sure.
A marketable cryptid is God's gift to small towns.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I kind of feel like that's kind of going off the same play as the Chucky sci-fi series, like where they just turn it into something where it's not as scary or not as intimidating as it is.
Yes, right. It's like the Hollywoodification of it, where they like turned it into like this cute little marketable. Well, it's for everybody.
It's a way for a community to come together and deal with their monsters, and also sell traveler mugs with their little monster's face on it.
Exactly.
It's just like Halloween.
Like Ogo Pogo and every other lake monster ever.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
why not?
As much as I feel like a part of us all despises that because it's not as creepy anymore. When it's like on a child's t-shirt. I feel like
I love it. I feel like it gives it more it spreads the
it definitely spreads it definitely spreads the stories. And I think it's in especially American culture to try to monopolize anything we possibly can. That it's just a way to make money, and a lot of the times those people that are doing that aren't necessarily wholehearted believers, but they're just trying to find a way to make money off of what comes to them,
but it's
which
also,
I'm not hating on.
But what it also shows is that it's a society that's interested in these types of things, though. Like, you're not making money off of these people if they weren't interested in this kind of stuff. So I think that there's also something to this whole cryptid thing, because they are able to make tons of money off of it, and people keep showing up and trying to see it, or pretending to believe it at least.
Yeah, but my question is, does that feed the existence of it, or does that just trivialize it into nothingness, right? Like,
I tend to think that more people will start to believe, and that it manifests.
Yeah, I think I'm on the side of, as much as some people are going to think that it's hokey now that they have a whole festival about it, what you're doing is inviting tons of more people to actively believe in it, which I think fuels it in the long run.
So you're talking about realization through belief. Like, if enough people believe in something,
right? That's kind of a lens we view a lot of this stuff. I'm not saying I 100% am on board with that, but I think that is, if there is a way to manifest something otherworldly, that's one way to do it.
It's one way to do it. Yeah, we're open to that. I always liken it to the TV show like American Gods. Like, the whole thing in it is like the gods, in order to keep being what they are, had to be worshipped and believed in. And so I think that it can kind of lead that same thing into the cryptid world, also with the paranormal, and I think any other thing. I think that once you're believing and open to something, then the more open you are to it, so the more, whether it's real or not real, it's happening to you, because you're opening yourself up to that.
But that's what's interesting too, is like, if you're not open to that, we argue, and I agree, like, if you're not open to it, you're way less likely to experience anything. But if I walk out in the middle of the freeway and say, I don't believe a truck's gonna hit me, there's still a good fucking chance a truck's gonna hit me.
Well, yeah, I think that there's limits and rules to all of it, but I think we're just talking about it in very general kind
veiled
of terms.
And subtle and less obvious in our realm is only susceptible to people that are open.
Well,
to
here's the
its
thing,
I
Bobby.
interject.
possibility.
I interject.
Wait, hold on. If millions of people were also at the same time you were believing that a truck wasn't going to hit you, who's not to say that the truck wouldn't hit you because you had those millions of people manifesting that to happen, right? But you don't have access to those type of people to run that kind of experiment to see if that
Yeah, there's
is
no
a
way to
plausible
organically create that either.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
It's
So
like-
there's no way
It's one of the
to
most insane
scientifically
survey study phone calls you would ever get in your life.
But I guess you can kind of liken it to the Slender Man idea, right? Like that was never really a real thing. And then so many people believed in it. And then you had genuine people out there who thought that they had experiences with this completely made up creature. So is it that they didn't have the experience, or that the idea of everyone believing in it manifested it into our realm somehow?
What if the way we insert these things into like pop culture, literature, movies, TV is a way, like a subconscious way of the collective human of like confining these things in the media world so that they don't come
To
out.
keep them out of the real world.
Yeah. But at the
That's a
same
very
time, you have to
interesting
give
concept.
it a little acknowledgement that it does, it is a thing, right?
Well,
Right.
that's super indicative of a lot of these like more mischievous spirits that are out there. You have to tip your hat to it, or it fucks with
Right.
you more, right? So like that definitely leads in. Like there's definitely already that, so that the correlation exists there. So that can be 100% a possibility.
I mean, I want to hear what
Free
Bree has
breathe.
to say.
Upstairs, what do you got?
Who's
What
upstairs?
upstairs has to say, but real quick, like what you were talking about, Bobby, is like I could recreate that and say I'm going out into the woods late spring in the mountains and manifesting that a grizzly bear won't attack me or will attack me. It doesn't mean that a grizzly bear is or is not real.
Right.
It just means it's not in the area that I am
Totally.
in.
Mm-hmm.
Tony, we had the brainwaves because I was gonna fucking say exactly what you just said.
Free
Is
pick
that
up
it doesn't
here.
matter. Is that
We're-
it doesn't matter. Millions of people believe in the truck. And that's all it needs. It does
Right.
not matter of the action. It's the noun itself.
Okay, can we
Mhm.
stay in this? Can we stay in this rabbit hole for a little bit longer?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
Okay, so
here,
how
baby.
does this tie in? And I don't know if you guys agree with this or not, but I have been practicing, like, I visualize almost like a shield of protection and positivity around me.
Okay.
And I feel in my heart that does fend off negativity.
Mhm.
Like, because I'm
Mhm.
kind of a cynical crank, right?
Mhm.
But like,
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
can't let my cynicism fall so deep that I just am totally negative and black pilled all the time.
Yeah,
right?
void of it. Yeah.
Right. So I feel like the way I've been looking at it is if I believe in this, like I think of it as like a bubble or like a shield of like protection of positive energy. Like I said, I'm less susceptible to that kind of stuff. How would some claim like that maybe even fit into what we're talking about with this little red fella?
Well, I think it's just that idea that our brains are a much more powerful tool than we actually realize. And that, okay, well, think about it. The brain is the only organ that named itself. The brain.
Whoa.
Wait. Did you know? Okay,
Stop the way that you went.
Wait, because I have more. The brain, because the brain grosses itself out. Like if you see a brain, you were immediately like, ugh. And it's just your own brain looking at another fucking brain.
Yeah,
like
but you can say that about kidneys
weird.
or.
But the kidney didn't name itself. The kidney isn't like an organ.
So you're saying
like we are at the end of the day,
So-
we are our brains, and we are inside of a giant meat suit. Okay, and the meat suit is just driving the brain.
So let's extrapolate that. So if I'm a
Okay.
human and I see a dead human, I'm very more likely going to be more disturbed by it than if I see like a dead squirrel in the road.
Yes, 100%.
Absolutely.
So
Depends on who you are.
I
Yeah,
knew
that's true.
I knew that was coming, Bree. Don't worry about it. No. But you know what I'm saying? Like, so what you're saying is because the brain is literally like cognizant and self-aware, it is more likely to be repulsed by its fellow other brain than something
Mhm.
like, say, an amputated toe on the ground.
Exactly. And so the brain does these crazy things that we literally cannot understand. And we only know that we only use like 10% capacity of our brain. We have zero idea what goes on in those other areas and what we're capable of. So I think that you manifesting a shield around you to protect you is incredibly indicative of us collectively believing in a cryptid so it exists.
But this is the thing. Hold on. You guys are talking about the brain, but like the brain is just a receiver. The brain
is the tool. Is the tool. Yes.
You guys high right now?
No,
you
not
visualizing.
Yet.
That's your consciousness.
Me neither.
That is your higher self
for
that is
sure
giving you information.
So
your brain is just an organ.
I will say with you. So what it is that the consciousness is basically in our brain, and like the consciousness is using our brain as the controller of the video game, right? Of our avatar, right? It's 100% what Bree's saying, a receiver. But it is, to put it into human terms, it's our brain doing it. But yes, consciousness. But
right. No, yeah, that's the machine that manifests the consciousness.
Exactly.
As far as we know.
And to quote KARI Sunday, quoting Bill Hicks, today a young man on acid realized that all matter is merely energy condensed to a slow vibration, that we are all one consciousness experiencing itself subjectively. There is no such thing as death. Life is only a dream, and we are the imagination of ourselves. Here's Tom with the weather.
Cheers, love.
I love Bill Hicks.
One of my favorite songs has that whole like bit in it.
It's Tool. Yes.
Oh no, it's someone else, but yeah,
no,
they
it's
do.
Tool.
No. Tool does, but there's someone else too. But
no,
yeah, okay.
It's so funny because like I feel like every single episode we say the word tulpa, and I was trying to avoid it this episode because we say it so much. We were like talking about all the other ways it could be that, but yes,
if you're assuming we're talking about tulpas or egregores,
we are.
You're probably right.
We are.
I just feel like your consciousness, your higher self, is already a part of this mega energy system that we really don't know much about. And like we can theorize and we can, read books and learn as much as we can. But at the end of the day, there is a giant complex of different energy systems and matrices that are all kind of oscillating around each other. And our consciousness, our higher self, is involved in that. So when it brings down information and it gets digested through our brain, we can kind of break it down in a way that makes sense to us with our feet on the ground. And we're like, okay, I can visualize this. Mm-hmm. And I have a feeling like because we're visualizing, and if we put our intent and our belief into it, it's already easier for our consciousness to connect to that, since it's already in that massive energy field that is outside of our body. So it's easier to pull from and manifest that way because it's already in that whole like bubble system with our consciousness. Does that make sense? It's like,
Bree, I'm sorry,
it's
can you start over?
Pulling and making it.
Well, all you have to do.
I follow.
Okay,
I really do want to rewind that and try to really. I know what you're saying though. I think.
All you really have to do is look at this show and look at the four of us and understand that we are four people who are spread across the United States, and if you bring in the full Toddy Wobble
worldwide
team, we are across the US and the UK, but you have so many different views of the world and how the world is going on. Like Bree, I'd like that I can point up, and there's Bree.
Yes.
So Bree sees the world in an entirely different way than Bobby does, and I do, and Jamie does, and KARI does, and we come onto this show every single week and we try to make sense out of everything that we comprehend through what we read, whether it's Bobby's Cryptid Corner or butt stuff or whatever. And we have people watching this going, yeah, you guys are right. Like, we don't even know what the fuck we're talking about.
We're just throwing shit out there.
No, I love that you. No, and I love that you say that, because I remember saying to Bree, like, I love how we pulled in these people who have such drastically different ideas than me and her do. Like, politically, morally, like we all have very drastically different views of how we think and how we approach things. It's true.
Yeah, that's probably true.
It's probably true.
Yep.
I feel like me and Brie would do a lot of fucked up things.
Spiritually,
Yes, all those things. But we're all very different, and it's interesting because we all get along. We come together every week. We have shows together, and we're all genuinely friends with each other. And we come together because of these weird topics, regardless of where we come from.
Yes.
Aw, a moment
Aw.
of appreciation. A moment of
Is this
appreciation.
the show about the what is it? The chupacabra
It is.
of
I'm
Detroit?
just hoping we wasted enough time to make this last 2 hours.
Oh,
I got a lot of
Bobby,
work to do.
But before we move on, and we will in 2 seconds, I just want to
Okay,
say
before I start crying.
absolutely, you can protect your own energy that way.
Totally.
And that is absolutely the best way possible, and it's great that you're like a bubble. That's what you need.
It's
and
the
like,
secret.
and to me,
Yeah.
the
Only-
easiest way, it's always through the heart, you guys. You could read any spiritual teaching out there possible. That energy has to originate from the heart center, your heart chakra, your anahata. When you cultivate from that perspective, I think you're also realizing how powerful you are, and that at the end of the day, you really are just energy against other energies. The only thing that makes one energy stronger than the other is a program in your head. But once
Totally.
you realize that your energies are on the same level and you could possibly be stronger, you can use that for the better. And of course, protection is the most important of them all.
Yeah, and fear is the mind killer.
Oh, for sure.
So yeah,
And
I totally agree.
back to our scheduled programming.
Back to our regular scheduled programming from our
Oh yeah,
rants.
the guy from Labyrinth. That's what we're doing. this week.
Now that we're done jerking each other off.
All right. So where the Nain Rouge really gets into play is with Marie Caroline Watson Hamlin's Legends of Le Detroit. Marie Caroline Watson Hamlin compiled a collection of folklore, genealogy, and family narratives related to the founding and early history of the city. It consists of over 30 folk stories rooted in Detroit's early history, as well as Native American and French folklore. And what was interesting about her as like an individual is she was able to, like, she was in a really interesting position to like record all of this stuff because she was literally related to the founders of Detroit, Michigan. Like she was in direct bloodline. So she was
Insane
literally
Clown Posse.
Exactly. She was literally like so familyed up that it was perfect for her to write this because she knew everything that was going on. She was 100% privy to all of this information and all of the gossip and everything that people talked about in town.
Okay, just
She's
look
like,
at this.
"What's up, my wicked ninjas? Much motherfucking wicked clown love. What's going on in the village today?"
Subdued, shaded lights bathed the room in mellow radiance, where around a table, resplendent with costly silver and sparkling glass, sat a gay party of French officers.
Gay.
I can never get past the word gay being used for happy. I don't know what it is. It makes me feel like such a little child. Like I'm such a kid still. But whenever I hear gay in a story like that, I'm just like, that's fucking funny. Like gay is in The Nightmare Before Christmas. And I'm just like,
that movie's
about
gay.
Santa Claus. And I was just like, that's funny.
That's the
Gay for Santa Claus?
that's the Moon Man from McDonald's. Go to McDonald's at night.
Yes. So, real
So-
legit shit. There's an awesome McDonald's. Well, there used to be an awesome McDonald's 25 years ago in downtown Detroit that had a shark tank and had a huge like
Fucking
fish tank.
Shark
There were
Tank.
sharks and everything, but they had the Moon Man inside of it.
Hell yeah.
And
You know-
it's probably abandoned right now. All the sharks are dead, and I'm sad.
That's the
If
sad
that-
thing. I think that's awesome, but what scares me is that a bunch of McDonald's workers are the ones in charge of taking care of the fish and the sharks, and that's fucked up.
This fucked
Well,
up,
it was
We're trying to
okay.
say about people that work at McDonald's.
No, it's just like they're not
They're
getting
not
paid a lot
qualified
to-
or probably
yeah.
getting paid to do it. So they're probably like, fuck this shark.
Mhm.
No,
Pay my
it's cool.
bills.
It was the 1980s. Everybody was against Japanese cars. Don't worry about it.
My old man still is. Okay.
Was that a personal
Right.
jab towards me?
Wait.
No.
So let me ask you a question. if this McDonald's we're talking about was not in Michigan, would this rabbit hole tangent been completely inappropriate?
Probably.
Absolutely.
I'm
Probably.
not following.
I
okay.
grew
Next
up
slide.
in this city.
Next slide.
Hmm.
We'll talk about that later. So the story that she put inside of her book was about Detroit's founder, Antoinette de la Mouth Cadillac. Was told by a fortune teller to appease the Nain Rouge when met with one in his future drink.
Rouge means red.
Yes.
Mhm.
So he goes to this party. They're celebrating him, and this is before he goes to Detroit. They're having this party, and of course, back in the day, they would have like a fortune teller or something come in, and like give a little show to the party. But the story is that this lady kind of made her way into the party, opposed to that her just being a part of the entertainment, that she wanted to be there. And so she starts reading him his fortune, and he was not ready for what he was about to hear.
Mm-mm.
Imagine your
Oops, hold
name
on.
being that many syllables. Go back.
I have to because I
wait, hold
skipped
on.
the slide.
She skipped one.
Cool. Go back. Yeah. Imagine it being Antoine de la Mothe Cadillac.
Yeah, we're just gonna
How
call him Cadillac.
boring
Cadillac.
are you?
Antoine de la Motte Cadillac. It sounds better when you like say it with a little.
You remember this is like in like 1707 or some shit. This is
It
like
is. Yeah, it's old.
1800s.
no. When this happened, this was like the
17.
17, like 17, early 1700s. Yeah.
This was
I challenge
before
you.
Detroit.
1776 was when America became a thing.
1776.
This was before America. That's what we're saying. Like this is
In
back when he
Detroit?
was home. No,
New
this is
York
before,
City.
This is before he got to Detroit. This is before he founded it.
No,
Okay,
This is early in his life.
douchey
I gotta pay attention.
It's okay, Bree. Go to the next slide. Read the next slide.
I'm gonna get that for you, Tony. You wait. Okay, I'm gonna read this to you guys.
Oh, God.
This is what
Yeah,
she said.
exactly.
This is what a fortune teller said, and yes, this is his face right here, Cadillac. And according to the text, she straight up waltzed in with a black cat just like curled up on her shoulder. So like boss. Strange. Just kidding. Yours is a strange destiny, a dangerous journey you will soon undertake. You will found a great city which one day will have more inhabitants than the New France now possesses. Many children will nestle around your fireside. Mon chevalier, I wish you had not commanded me to go on, for dark clouds are arising, and I see dimly your star. The policy you intend pursuing in selling liquor to the savages, contrary to the advice of the Jesuits, will cause you much trouble and be the cause of your ruin. In years to come, your colony will be the scene of strife and bloodshed. The Indians will be treacherous. The hated English will struggle for its possession, but under a new flag, it will reach a height of prosperity which you never in your wildest dreams pictured. You will bask in a sunnier climate, but France will claim your last sigh. Your future and theirs lies in your own hands. Beware of undue ambition. It will mar all your plans. Appease the Rouge. Beware of offending him. Should you be thus unfortunate, not to vestige in your inheritance will be given to your heirs. Your name will be scarcely known in the city you founded.
You went a little Scottish there at the end.
A little Scottish.
Sci-fi.
The cool thing about this, and which is why I definitely wanted to include it, is because all of this is literally based off of what she said to him. And if this is indeed true, then she predicted what would happen in the Detroit area in United States.
Yeah, she really.
All of it.
If it is accurate, it's very accurate.
Well, she didn't say anything about Motown or 8 Mile or Gathering
She
of the
wasn't looking that far.
Juggalos.
She wasn't looking that far.
He will
she didn't
see
say-
a Slim Shady, and he will not stand.
He will be
She
the
didn't
fastest
say
rapper of his time.
After 70 years of democratic rule, your city would fail.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
my
Oh, wow. Here we
Okay,
go.
all right,
It's
here we
a
go.
factual thing.
All right. So upon encountering the creature, he smacked it with his cane and shouted, "Get out of my way, you red imp." And as a consequence, a string of bad luck befell him. And this is over his entire time. He was charged with abuse of power and resigned to Louisiana. And he later returned to France, where he was briefly imprisoned and eventually lost his fortune. Which, again, if you go back to what Bree read, it said that if he tried to get too ambitious, he was charged with abuse of power, and France would take everything from him at the end of it. And France did.
He had to acknowledge the Neon Rose power, right?
Yeah. He was supposed to be
And-
kind
Well,
to
he
it.
had to respect and kindness. So we absolutely kind of, in my opinion, like skipped a bit here because he's at a party. He hears this. This is before he even goes to Detroit. He goes to
Yeah,
Detroit.
this is like
he founds
years
Detroit.
later.
He's walking in a park with his wife, and the Nain Rouge kind of like pops out of the little walkway where they are, like leprechaun, and then he's like, "Out of here, you imp!" and then like hits him with the cane, and the thing's like hee as it like tramples off, but he still disrespected him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, don't respect him. Yeah.
You know, like my
Can you imagine being so gangster that you just pimp slap an imp?
I know,
with your
like I
cane?
know,
And
right?
you live in
Like,
Detroit?
I'm like, fuck you,
fuck
bitch.
off.
Bam.
Based off of his language that he chose, he seems like a very high-strung male. You know, like why would you
He's
just anyone in
French.
your way, especially if they're an imp, which is not appropriate. That's not a PC term anymore, or
It's
not
not.
at all.
What?
Like,
No.
You can't say imp anymore?
No.
Why?
No,
Who does
there's
it
a
offend?
difference between imps and midgets, Brie.
it's
Don't
still
think you could.
illegal.
I think you've got to
Oh,
say
God,
no
he's just
for
layering
now.
it on
It's
tonight,
illegal in
isn't
the
he?
PC handbook of the gods.
Brie, just because you're 4'11",
Yeah, I'm
doesn't
keeping
mean
imp.
that-
You guys can't have it.
You know what? If someone hit me with their cane, though, I would fuck them up. I wouldn't be like, we'll see.
Would that be a hate crime?
For sure.
Right, girl.
Only if she would. Let me see. Disappeared, grabbed her bag of gold, and went to the next rainbow.
I said, I'm gonna impregnate your wife.
All right, give us your next one.
All right, moving along.
So this
Moving along.
started this whole idea that the imp was to blame anytime you saw him. The Nain Rouge, I should say, as we could drink.
Drake.
It started this pattern of him being blamed for anything that happened. And so these are the several examples of what he was blamed for happening in Detroit. And the first one was the 1763's Battle of Bloody Run, where Captain James Dalyell led 260 soldiers across Parents Creek, and Indians launched a surprise attack which devastated the British. 60 British were killed, and the creek became known as Bloody Run because it was said that all the soldiers were like pushed into the river and the blood ran. Yes.
Going back to what we were talking about earlier about like belief and how possibly that belief can bring these things into reality. Something like blame, I feel, would be even more profoundly feeding into that, right?
Oh yeah, for
You're
sure.
You're giving it legitimacy, like with a purpose. It's
Well, so
not just like
it's interesting that you say that because that happens with some of the cryptid creatures we run into. You know, maybe the ones where the farmers' cows are mutilated and they're using this cryptid as an excuse as for whatever it is. So I think cryptids, at the end of the day, something that we've learned through this journey of cryptid research is that a lot of times there's, you know, several paths that cryptids can go, whether it be to like control a population, like, you know, scare them and things like that. But something like this, they used it as a general blame, just like a blanket of, oh, well, it showed up and that's why this happened. Like that's
but I mean, but at what point is something else killing the livestock versus one of these things killing the livestock.
I
You know
think what
I
you
mean?
were saying is that you give it a purpose, that it's one thing to
Yes.
just believe in something, but like
Right.
what you're saying, Bobby, is you're basically giving it a job.
Yes,
Yes.
You've
100%.
now assigned
Well, I'm just saying it
a
further
role.
legitimizes I think that
Absolutely,
it
because it's one
fuels
thing
the
to make something up, but if it now
Mhm.
has a
right.
purpose, as if it has something to do.
Well, I don't know if he's so much giving it a job as so much as he is assigning a blame for multiple things to be.
Yeah, but you're utilizing it as like
Yeah.
a
Right.
function. Like it's
But I think that
functional
happens.
for a
But that's what I'm
reason.
saying. I think that happens with some
explanation.
cryptids, though. That's very on point with some of the cryptids that we see, whether that be like Mothman or, like I said, the cow mutilations and things like that. I feel like a lot of the time cryptids end up being a scapegoat, is what it is.
Right. So
Scapegoat.
you have to understand at this time and period in Detroit, Detroit's not like the big bustling city that it is now or was before, but before
Before
all
COVID or
the
something?
auto industry collapse. But this is a big major city, but at this point in time, it is still like what we would consider a rural city that has a port, that has a rail system, that they are bringing all of these industries into. And maybe these people are kind of seeing attacks by coyotes or wolves because all these animals were there at the time.
Mm.
Or even if it's animals that they're unfamiliar with because they're new to the territory.
Yeah, I
love
mean,
that.
there's Wolverine. Wolverines used to actually exist in Michigan. They're not as prevalent as they were
They're in the
100
UP.
years ago.
Wolverines.
Word.
All right, bring me up the next one, Bree, so I can show the other examples of what he was blamed for. He was also blamed for the infamous 1805 fire. On the morning of June 11th, 1805, the city of Detroit caught fire and nearly everything was destroyed. While no official cause was determined, it was rumored that hot ash from a pipe started the fire, and they actually blamed a baker, I believe. But it is said that before this happened, people saw the Nain Rouge.
Rouge. You know what I forgot to add?
Hold on. I'm there. Drink.
There you go.
I forgot the year. I'm just gonna say 1777. But Mr. Cadillac did die on October 15th.
Ooh, my birthday. I love
I
that.
was like, Jamie's reincarnated.
Reincarnated. Love
Jamie's
it.
really the Cadillac.
I'm really the Cadillac. All right, give me the next one.
300 years later.
The Nain was also to blame for the surrender of Detroit in the War of 1812. According to the tale, all the misfortunes of the governor and General William Hull leading to the surrender of Detroit are blamed on the Nain Rouge. I want to say rogue every time.
You do. Like
I do.
It's very
I know.
Louisiana.
I don't know why I
Rouge.
don't have that. I have the Rouge. You have to
I
say it
love-
like Rouge.
I love how with this guy, he was just like my whole life. It was just everything. It wasn't anything in particular. It was just all of
My
it.
birth.
Just
my
fuck
Yeah.
me.
Just
Yeah.
fucked me. It all fucked me up.
Just, I
But
actually
so
saw.
the surrender of Detroit in the War of 1812. So I gotta look this up. Is this part of the Ohio-Michigan War or the Michigan-Canada War?
Zero
Because
idea on that one, sir.
There's
Oh,
a lot that
wow.
happened that a lot of people don't know about. Is that the states actually went to war against each other, and that's
Yeah, they
how
did
the
it all
state
the time back in the day.
borders- They did it all the time.
Yeah, it was constant.
all the time. Yeah, I'm not doing a channel about that because I will lose my shit.
Oh, for sure.
No, and there's no point because just be like, hey, we all hated each other. Bada boom, bada bing.
Bada boom, bada bing. We're still fighting
Bada
each
boom,
other,
bada
really.
bing.
We're always fighting each other. Listen, the thing is that people, it's a weird animalistic behavior in humans that want to rule and be in power of everything and push their
What the fuck
Rule.
was the War of 1812?
on others.
Is that against the
Nobody knows.
French?
I mean, it makes sense because they were French, and then we're like booted them. We're like, get the fuck out of here. I think it's still weird that there's like that Canada got Frenchified. I'm like, what the fuck? Stay on your own goddamn island.
War of 1812 was fought by the United States of America and indigenous allies against the United Kingdom and its allies and British North. Yeah, so it was the U.S. and the indigenous people against.
That's what the other war was.
Pizza.
Indigenous
pizza.
Shut up.
I want to eat that. I wonder what that consists of.
Not pineapple.
All right, give me the next one.
This is something that we did leave out though, in the slide is that there were trickster-ish spirits or whatever you name it.
Indigenous pizza should be
from the Aboriginals, which
we'll
are
talk about that at the end.
Indigenous people. I didn't.
We talk
see
about that at the end. Yeah, it's at the very end.
Okay, just cross.
All right, so the next one was the 12th Street riot in 1967. This was confrontations between African-American residents and the Detroit Police Department escalated, causing bloodshed of the urban riots in the United States, or causing the bloodiest of the urban riots in the United States. And many people allege that they saw the Nain before.
I wonder if they did, was there any like Black Lives Matter riots in Detroit?
That was basically a Black Lives Matter Detroit riot, but like back in the day.
Can't say riot. It's a peaceful protest. But what we're talking about here is I've talked to a lot of people who lived through this, and what they said was like the 101st Airborne Division and the 82nd Airborne Division were in Detroit and were actively killing rioters, even though it was not put on the news. And of course, none of this can be confirmed. This is just what people have said to me, that the military was involved and that they were killing people and shoving them into the sewers.
Wow.
That's just this riot?
Yeah, the 1967 race riots in Detroit.
Yep.
Certainly not surprising if that is true.
No,
absolutely not surprising, even if it happened to this day. Lord knows.
It'd be really surprising today, but
no, Lord knows when we will actually have settled the scores.
All right, give us your next one.
Yeah, I was waiting for a rebuttal. I felt like it was coming.
The war went by, and I just watched it go.
I heard it in your breath. You're like,
so this is the version of it today. This was established in 2010. Is it playing?
In New Orleans, this parade has become a Detroit tradition. Thousands of people join together in hopes of banishing the Nain Rouge.
That's right. This year's event is coming up on Sunday. And once again, the Red Dwarf, who's haunted Detroit for more than 300 years, is expected to make an appearance.
He's never done a TV interview, by the way. Until now, Stephen Clark, you've got clout, my friend.
So this is like a thing. Like this is the thing everyone in Detroit knows about.
It's a big thing.
I never even heard of this.
Who or what is the Nain Rouge, you ask? Well, he or it's a big part of Detroit legend. Specifically, for hundreds of years, he's gotten the blame for everything bad that's ever happened in Detroit. This parade
I grew up here.
It's an occasion to actually run times out of town.
Yes.
Did you really?
And this is the guy allegedly behind all of Detroit's bad times.
You know, Stefan, can I call you Stefan?
I'd rather you call me Stephen.
Okay, Stefan.
He's known as Nain Rouge, but as you can see, he's a little difficult. You know, we're doing an interview here.
This will go faster if you just let me take the call.
And according to legend, the name goes back to the beginning of Detroit history, when a fortune teller told explorer Antoine de la Motte Cadillac that a red imp of his dreams was a harbinger of bad times to come. So for 200 years...
boy. Is that it?
No, you paused.
I didn't click anything, yo.
The Nain got the blame for a lot of bad stuff.
The history of it is that he tends to manifest at times. You know, he's been around during bad ice storms and during the fire and all these sort of historic events that have happened in Detroit.
And for the first time in 300 years, the Nain has agreed to a television interview.
I really felt it was time to go public in a bigger way and let people know about my new awareness campaign, my new philosophy of relentless negative apathy.
Why so dreary? In our interview, where the Nain preferred to stay in the darkness, he took the credit for everything from the bad weather
You're living out the bad decision made 300 years ago by idiots that stayed in Detroit rather than moving closer to the equator.
To Detroit's EFM, to the NHL strike.
The NHL strike was my solution to the success that the Red Wings occasionally bring. Curiously, I've never had anything to do with the Lions. Terrible.
Clearly, this guy has got to go. Which brings
Leave
us
my
back
Red
to
Wings
Sunday's
alone.
March du Nain Rouge. Kind of a run, kind of a walk, kind of a parade down Detroit's Cass Court. A positive gathering to banish one negative dude.
I need to
You
go
know,
so bad.
Stephen.
I wanna go.
If I had a dime for every time people think they can defeat me or banish me or run me out of town, they can't. I'm the living embodiment of everything that holds Detroit back.
I don't like that guy.
It really does
Not
feel
at all.
like French
The
Catholic
official
the way
March
New
du
Orleans
Nain
does.
Rouge
You know,
festivities
Yeah.
begin
It
Sunday
feels
at
like
1
one of
p.m. in the
those-
parking lot of the Traffic Jam in Snug, a restaurant on Canfield in Detroit. A great place to go, by the way. A number of businesses are offering specials and discounts in the days
Detroit.
leading up to the big event. We have an entire list
Detroit.
at Detroit2020.com.
Detroit.
This is the time, though.
Yeah.
You're marching him right out. I can tell.
He may be negative, but he's pretty funny.
He is a funny guy. We don't want to run the funny part of him out of town. It's just a great opportunity to say, listen, let's look at the positive. And they just found a guy to kind of embody the negative. And the cool thing is, it's a 300. I guess back when kids like 200 years ago, right? They'd say, go to bed or the Nain gets you.
Wow. How about that?
It's a great tradition that they've started.
How about that,
Resurrect
Steve?
tradition.
How about
Back to
that?
you.
How about
Back
that?
to you.
local news.
All right,
Yeah,
and this
now
next
they
one is
say,
so this is a little clip of the parade itself. If you want to play this real quick, it's just a minute long, and then we'll talk about it.
yeah, play it. Because now they say go to bed or Joe Biden will sniff you.
Tony.
So these are protesters against the people trying to shame the Nain.
Oh Jesus,
Yeah. Oh, we'll get into it.
we have
They
too much
learned
fucking time
about
on
it.
our hands.
They learned about
Do you
it
think he's a
15
harbinger of doom or a
minutes
protector of the city?
I think he's a troublemaker,
All right.
but some trouble can be fun.
It's amazing how
Copywritten
people,
off the
I know,
list.
right? There's amazing how many people are just like walking around now.
This is what Austin looks like on any day.
Right?
What Detroit looks like.
That's actually a police officer on real duty right there. Cheeseburger looks delicious. What the
No,
heck?
that is a big boy.
I feel like it's just like Halloween. It's literally just like Halloween in the middle of the air.
You know what? These people just like they have no reason being here. Everybody
I love it.
else made sure that they were dressed. This is gonna be my Halloween costume next year. I feel like
I love that. That's a vibe.
that's a fat vibe.
It's a fat vibe. Okay, so this is the opposition. And they are the Nine Rogue, the real Nine Rogue, Rouge.
Rouge.
And they are very
Thank
upset by the
God.
fact that they are calling this a negative being because they actually believe in the opposite. They actually believe that the Nain Rouge is a protector of the city and not a harbinger of badness,
Are,
but
are
it's
these people
coming.
being serious, or is this just
Yes.
part of the fun?
No. This is
No,
really.
this is
This is really.
serious.
Go to the next page. Mm-hmm. This is
Look
from
at
their
this.
website. I'll read it
Look at right here. This is the Nine Rouge Karen right there.
for sure. Okay, let's go to the next one.
Who's on the
And so
drinking
the
bet?
okay, so the beginning of Detroit's Nine Rouge
Detroit.
are thought by some
Say it
to
right.
originate from the Aborigine. How do you say that word, Bree?
Algonquin.
Algonquin
The
creation.
Aborigine creation.
Sorry, which concern Gooslap, who, after creating the earth and men, continued by forming
So
beings
many
such as
hate
fairies and
crimes.
dwarfs. These nature spirits were to act a protector of certain regions of the country to ensure that the Gooslap's evil brother Maelstrom would cause no harm to man's community, or the or the natural environment.
Everything you just
So-
said is something that people believe in, which really makes me want to sleep.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Black
Black
Prism.
Prism.
We know.
That makes sense though. So the Algonquin peoples had this other spirit, but it was like a cool one. It was like, hey, I'm here, let's chill, we're fine.
Yeah.
And then when Mr. Cadillac came around, because he already had the words of the fortune teller in his ear, like, watch out, La Rouge, watch out. It appears that because of his experience and his belief that he then pushed forth that it was something negative.
Mhm.
And it seems like it was just something that was haunting him. And I kind of think that he manifested his own destiny that way.
Mhm.
But
He let
it's,
his fortune come true for sure.
and so for the indigenous peoples, it's like, yo, this thing's been here and it's been cool for this long, and now the white man comes and has all this bullshit background and now it's evil, you know. So I mean, that makes sense to me. We
Go to
can
the next
see
one.
this, we can see the series of events.
We'll keep going on this. You read this one, Brie.
Okay. When European missionaries spread throughout Michigan, the tribal gods and supernatural creatures were turned into demons and evil spirits in an attempt to vanquish them from memory. Some historians and researchers have also made the case that the telling of the tales of a red devil may in fact not be supernatural at all, but are even more problematic than understood at first glance. The original stories told may be cultural folk tales of the original inhabitants of North America, as described through the lens of European settlers. When seen in this light, we can understand just how horrible the idea of blaming problems on the red devil actually are.
So it's literally what Brie was just talking about. It's like they came in and they culturally appropriated it and used it to their benefit.
Just like
If
Halloween.
there was a Starbucks back then, they'd probably have a drink named after
They
it.
would. And so just so everyone knows, a gooshgap
Goose clap.
Goose cap.
is a legendary figure of the Wapanaki people, native peoples located in Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine, and Atlantic Canada. And that's their version of pretty much what everyone is kind of, these people are saying, like, that was the original Nain Rouge.
Neon.
And so,
Neon
and that's what they've
Rouge.
turned it into. They turned it into this negative thing, and it's literally the exact opposite of that. And that it's here to help and protect.
You know, it's interesting though that we have, it's like, who cares? Obviously, the whole parade, people gather, and it seems like they're doing it in like a celebratory manner. Like, they most likely don't actually think that this thing is one, real, and two, evil. So they're just
Mhm.
literally just gathering to celebrate, to like have a memory. It's funny that there's always a part of humanity that needs to break off and then oppose that. You know, it's like, even though it's probably all fun and games, it's just funny that a separate group of people had to organize themselves in a way to be like, stop the hate. He is
Yeah.
good.
It's
You
too
know, it's
easy to
like,
get food is the problem.
Right?
jeez.
Yeah, but
Wild
Bree,
times.
you also have to understand that in Detroit, every single year, way longer than they've had this festival, they have a festival on Woodward Avenue where muscle cars drive up and down the streets, which is like a huge thing. It's way bigger than this. The Woodward Avenue muscle car drag.
The muscle car. Okay. So because Detroit makes all of the auto parts,
Not
Mhm.
anymore.
Well, not
It's mostly
anymore. I mean, they
Mexico.
do, but like not mostly. Yeah, Mexico does
so
a ton of
then
it.
was
Specifically
Detroit the first
Ford.
people to get all of these muscle cars, and then they're like putting on a showcase for it?
Well, I think that it's deeply ingrained within their culture because they're like a car city. I think that's
Yes.
that's like.
I'm just wondering.
it's-
I was hoping.
So
sorry.
it's absolutely like the culture there. So like I remember back when I was very, very little, seeing the original Dodge Viper back in 1994, which I would have been 10 years old at the Detroit Auto Show. And that was a car that was like, Detroit is back. Like it came back from the 70s and 80s where sports cars really suffered and everything. And then there was this Viper, and it was such an amazing car. And now my truck makes more horsepower than a Viper did in 1994 when I was 10 years old. So, like, technology has advanced way, way far. And I drove an original Viper, and holy shit, is that a scary experience.
It sounds exciting. I'm excited for that.
Well,
I would
I
like
mean,
to live
if
that
you're
life.
excited for getting inside something that is actively trying to kill you, sure.
I am.
So yes, absolutely.
Yeah. I dated a
Absolutely.
redhead once.
Bree, you go first.
No, I'm not going first.
I've never dated a redhead. That was a joke.
Okay.
I'm gonna give this. Oh, are we doing it in order now?
We can do whatever order you want. I'll go first. I'm
You
gonna
go
have
first.
to. I'm gonna have to middle bitch this squarely right in the middle, because here's the thing: when you bring into the side of it where we're talking about it going back to the Native American side, my interest is already peaked, because I'm like, I love my Native Americans. They 100% know the cryptids of the world. They know the real. They know it was here before anything, and so I'm intrigued. But the fact that it is mostly something that's celebrated now and wasn't celebrated, like Tony was saying, like when he was growing up there, he was like, what, this is celebrated? And it was like not until 2010 it became a big thing where like this festival or this parade was happening. So I have to middle bitch it, because I think that it's partially true and partially they're just embracing a cryptid of their past and enjoying it.
Word.
Who's next?
Who's going next? Not me. I'm last.
Tony.
All right. So obviously I grew up in Detroit. This is my hometown. This is where I'm from. I feel really bad for anybody who has the last name of Cadillac, because you just became a reworked Chevrolet. But like this, like, I can't help. You have to understand, anybody who was born in Detroit, who lived in Detroit, the auto industry is our blood. It is what makes us live. And like Jamie said, I never ever heard of this. And I'll give it a middle bitch. I think maybe there's something that is kind of involved in this, and probably because this dude's last name was Cadillac, the fact that he bitch slapped an imp with his cane, and the imp was like, you know what? Maybe you'll just be regulated to be a second class luxury vehicle for hundreds of years. I don't know.
Word.
Wow.
Word. All right, Bibby.
I'm not sure if I buy into all the like mythology of like the fortune teller told Mr. Cadillac that he'd be found in a city in Michigan. Like, I don't know if I'm into all that, but going back to kind of what we were talking about earlier, I think that this is one of those ones that when you have a local consensus, a local acknowledgement, and then not only that, a intent of putting blame or putting it into some sort, utilizing it in some way, that even fuels the I think this is like a psychic creature, but that doesn't make it any less real. So I'm gonna give it like an 8.
Ooh, okay. I like that. Bobby's going real with it. All right, Bree.
I'm gonna sci-fi this one.
Oh,
whoa!
Wow.
She went all the way.
You wanted to go last.
I just don't. I don't feel. I don't know. I think that it's based off of something that maybe wasn't true, and I really, in my heart of hearts, can't believe that a little red devil man is running around like causing mischief before things are happening. I don't know. This is one of those ones where like I wanted to believe. I just don't. I'm a hard one. I'm a hard one.
Hard sci-fi.
Who else is hard?
Me all the time.
How was that was fun. How was everyone?
That was
Halloween?
fun. You know what, baby? You would know if you hung out with us on Halloween, but you didn't.
Yeah.
Girl,
Fuck.
I don't. This is
None of us hung
literally-
out together yesterday anyway.
No, we
That's
didn't.
true. We didn't.
This is
We
literally
hung out the day
my
before.
time. Well,
We know.
It's fun. I hope you guys had trick or treaters.
Does
Yeah,
anyone have
so many.
anything exciting coming up for the rest of the week? I don't think we have anything to announce.
we just dropped a new episode on The Hidden from 1987, which will be my movie recommendation of. the
Ooh,
week.
nice. There we go.
Ooh.
Tony, anything
Tonight?
for you?
No, but I will say every time this time of year, I'm a huge fan of Trick or Treat.
I fucking love
The
that movie.
movie.
The activity or the movie?
The movie.
The movie.
Trick or
I watch
Treat.
it every night. Wait. Don't leave.
Okay.
The one with
I-
Sam the Pumpkin or the one with Sammy Kerr, the heavy metal guy?
with Sam the Pumpkin.
Hell yeah.
That's a great movie. We just watched. We finished VHS 99.
UHF with Weird Al.
Oh, wow. Look at that, Brie.
Yeah,
Love
that's
it.
beautiful.
Beautiful.
We
I always
just
consider
watched-
that's the A Christmas Story of Halloween. Is
Yeah.
Trick or
Yeah.
Treat.
All right, Brie, any final thoughts from you before we're out? Oh, shit.
Hey, Jamie. Thanks for the question.
I just want to say I appreciate everyone. I wish
Yeah,
I
love
was
you
loved
all.
more from my colleagues, but that's okay. That's what razors are for. They're here to help you
Okay.
out.
Oh my god!
Me and
I'm
the
right.
broken lollipop.
Make sure
All right,
you go.
we love you guys, and we'll see you guys next week for Bobby's Cryptid Corner. I have no idea what we're doing because Tony
gonna
has
be
to fix
good.
something. Love you guys. Bye.
Oh, what the fuck?